So in this lecture, we're going to talk about what cardiovascular exercise is, why you would want to do it, and how you can do it and what intensities you should be doing it at. So cardiovascular exercise is exercise where your heart rate becomes elevated for an extended period of time, usually a minimum of 10 minutes, but optimally it would be 20 to 30 minutes if you're someone who's just trying to be healthier in their everyday life. So what cardiovascular exercise does is it increases your circulation. This increases your body's ability to use oxygen. So you make metabolic changes, or your body makes physiological changes that allow you to use more oxygen and become more fit. So some benefits include improving your glucose sensitivity. So if you're concerned about having diabetes or maybe you're pre-diabetic, what exercise does is that it increases the sensitivity of your cells to bring glucose into them so your body doesn't produce as much insulin, which means that you're much healthier or you have a decreased chance of getting type 2 diabetes. Another benefit of doing cardiovascular exercise is that it improves your fatty acid metabolism. So that means your body's ability to use fat as an energy source is increased when you do cardiovascular exercise. So that's why it's very important. So some different types of cardiovascular exercise are running, walking, hiking, swimming, cycling, dancing. I mean, you can get creative. So by definition, cardiovascular exercise is any exercise that elevates your heart rate above a resting level. So for you, this means that you will be slightly out of breath. If you're just beginning, I recommend not going above the intensity where you can still hold a conversation with someone, but that is still pretty challenging. As you become more advanced and more used to doing exercise, you can progress the intensity up where you're out of breath the whole time to a point where you'll have to use trial and error to find this out, but to the point where you're doing 20 to 30 minutes, and at the end of that 20 to 30 minutes, then you have to stop. Like, you can't go any further because you've exercised at an intensity that's hard enough that it tires you out. So for the average person, this would be between 4 and 6 kilometers if you're someone who's running, and that would usually get you into the 20 to 30 minute range. If you're cycling, I would double that, and if you're swimming, I would half it or 1/4 it or so, because most people can't swim as fast as they can run. Sometimes cardiovascular training can be perceived as boring, and I believe that because if you're doing cardiovascular training on a stationary piece of equipment like a treadmill or a rowing machine or a stationary bike, then it can get very boring even if you are watching TV or a movie or something like that. So what I recommend when you're first starting out is to get a partner or to join a group that you're doing your training with. And that way there are some social interactions and there's a little bit of support of the community behind you to help you stick with it. As you become more advanced and better at cardiovascular training, you might want to start tracking your distances and trying to do a certain distance a little bit faster each time. And if you have a goal like that where you're trying to go a little bit faster, or if you're signing up for a race that you're trying to run under a certain time, that can really help motivate you to stick with your training. And I highly recommend that all of our clients do something like that.